Here we are.
Oh, there we go.
Let's go.
Right on time, Lee.
Right on time. Lee, always bitching, and always complaining. CJ, you going to see 28 Years Later this weekend?
I don't have plans for it yet, but that is a good reminder because I forgot it was this weekend.
Yep.
And I still haven't seen Days.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, we talked about this, right?
Yeah.
You got to see Days. Stream. Oh, you bought like a Blu-ray or something? Or you're gonna buy
I was saying it's hard to get. It's easy to get. You just need to pay more than like what you should be paying for a DVD.
Just fucking stream it, dude. Stream it. Watch the movie.
Is it on streaming anywhere?
Yes. Yeah, it is now.
They did. Okay.
Yes. They put it on Fandango at home, but then it was on all streaming services.
Okay, because I think honestly, like my first like real initiative to get into like getting more physical media was trying to watch 28 Days Later and seeing that it wasn't available anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
They put it back on, I would say 2 months ago or 3 months ago when they announced the movie.
That makes sense. Okay.
Pretty excited going Friday night, first night.
It's exciting.
I'm ready for, what are we doing? Saturday morning? Are we doing Saturday morning?
Yeah. You ready for a review? 2-minute review?
Well, I'm sure the thing you'll lead with was somebody talking or using their phone in the theater.
Oh, well,
100%. That's what you're going to lead with.
But can I tell you? It's fantastically disrespectful. It's just
I don't know. I don't disagree.
Okay,
I'm not standing up for that.
Okay.
As
long as you're not. Yeah.
Knowing you.
Yep.
That is going to bother you more than whatever happens in the movie.
Yep. I would say my wife and I go to a lot of movies. The movie where we saw the fewest cell phones, I think I saw one cell phone the entire thing, was Sinners. 2.5 hours, one cell phone up. I'll take that. That's
a real vote of confidence in the film and also in the people going to see the film.
Absolutely.
I
thought the film was only okay, but no cell phones makes me enjoy the film 10 times more.
Do you have a choice in theaters, or are you going to the same one consistently?
We're actually trying, now that we're in a new area, trying them all out. The first one we went to, everybody was very nice, but it was way too outdated. So I got to find a different one. I have a couple more we're trying. So, all right, let's do it. This is doing it all a different way. Hey, on the show today, our big boards. Man, I feel like we haven't done a proper big board in years. Well, you've done your big boards, but I haven't had a proper big board in years. So Mike gives his well-educated big board, and I give my YouTube big board. Also, Magic make a big trade with the Grizzlies for Desmond Bane, bunch of draft picks. What does that say about the value, if anything, of our guards here with the Sixers? The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draft Kings Sportsbook. Sign up for Draft Kings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. And brought to you by BodyBio. Get 20% off any BodyBio order with promo code August at bodybio.com. MortgageCS, become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP at mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Ethos Support, your customer support should not suck. Fix it at ethossupport.com/Ricky or call or text Blair at 240-593-2485. And Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, 2 grams of sugar, 100 calories, and no carbonation because iced tea should not have bubbles. As I speak about Surfside, when I walked away from the Phillies game to do the pod, they were up 4-0. The Phillies always makes me think of Surfside because every time I step into that stadium, I feel like I see as many Surfside cans as Phillies hats. Like they own the whole fucking thing. And now, more and more, where I go everywhere, actually anywhere in the country, Surfside taking over. It's taking over because everybody knows what tastes good. When you're drinking a canned cocktail, what do you want? You want real good vodka. So you got stateside vodka and Surfside. You don't want it to be too sweet. Surfside now. You don't want any bubbles because it's iced tea. You want a bunch of different options. Surfside has that. Iced tea, lemonade and vodka, green tea and vodka, raspberry tea and vodka. Come on. Go to drinksurfside.com if you can't find it near you. Otherwise, you got to be 21 to enjoy it. Please do that responsibly. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez forever.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who doesn't support bringing out your cell phone in a movie theater, but he's not a little bitch about it like me. That is one, Mike Levin.
Oh, go to the movies. I'm going to the movies this weekend, seeing some films. Love
yeah?
the movies.
I love going to the movies.
You gotta.
I love it. I that's why when I complain about the cell phone stuff, it's really because I love going to the movies so much, and and I don't think there's like a ton of people who love going to the movies anymore.
Big friggin' screen.
Oh, I love it. Big friggin' screen. I thought about doing that AMC thing where you can see like a bunch of movies every month. I think it's like $30.
My friends do that, yeah.
Yeah, seems like a good deal.
Yeah.
Well,
Support Adam Aaron.
Yes, anything I could do to support Adam Aaron. My favorite thing at AMC, like the pre-show thing, aside from the what's her name?
Nicole Kidman.
Aside from the Nicole Kidman video, which is incredible, is like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but Adam Aaron, there was a minute where AMC was one of those like stocks that everybody's playing games with, like GameStop or whatever. So it went up way too high. And Adam Aaron got very involved in like online stock culture. And now on the theater, before they start, they go, AMC would like to thank our investors. And
Really?
like,
I haven't heard that.
It's so funny. Wow. It's so random. Yeah.
You shouldn't be allowed online after a certain age.
I firmly support that as long as you give me 7 or 8 years from now.
Oh, you got time.
Okay,
But there's
all right.
should be an age. I'm not saying I have the answer, but there should be an age where you're just like, sorry, you're no longer allowed to be on the internet.
Yes. For your own good.
For your own good, for everyone's good.
For your own good. Yeah. But before we get into big boards, which is pretty exciting, I haven't like really grinded tape for NBA big boards in a long time.
Yes.
So I got to do football for the radio show, but I haven't been able to do basketball. But big, aside from the finals, which seems like with Halliburton injured, seems like it's kind of, I mean, or at least hobbled. Feels like it is going to. Feels like it's going to go to the Thunder.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I mean, they're both really good teams, and they play so fucking hard together. And TJ taking over in the third
He's unstoppable.
was just so amazing.
Dude,
It was-
offensively, you try to stop him from getting that mid-range jumper.
He was getting to the basket. It's just so cool to see him do it because he was fucking here. He was like, Sixers Adam pointed this out online. He wasn't just like, oh, undrafted guy. He was like deep undrafted guy,
Yes.
like barely made a summer league roster undrafted guy, and played for some of the worst Sixers teams ever, and just like plays his ass off and has NBA skills. And I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. I'm happy Tony Bradley's getting in there. That's also cool. Isaiah Joe buried on the bench. Interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. But I'm watching this game, and this is like a little teaser for when we get to talk about the big boards. But like, the extent to which these guys are playing so hard.
Yeah, it affected my big boards too. You're going to be, I think, a little surprised.
It absolutely should. And not only is it affecting big boards, and it's going to be affecting how hard these teams are playing and how much prospects need to be able to do multiple things. If you're a one position defender as a guard or you're a one position defender as a center, you got to be really so elite at so many things to be worthwhile to me. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But as far as like playing hard goes, is Joel Embiid watching the NBA Finals? Because if he's not,
well, probably not.
If he's not, this is true. If he's not, his contract should be like voided. Like I would say everybody. I would say everyone. I need like a Hard Knock style camera on every single person in the Sixers organization. And if they're not watching the finals, they are either cut or fired.
I bet Paul George is. I bet Maxey is. I bet McCain.
I'm certain Maxey is. I'm certain McCain is.
Well, McCain's like a reporter or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's doing it. I'm
but
certain.
it's the Zach Lowe made this point on his podcast after, can't remember which game it was, but the playoffs, NBA playoffs are so long.
Yes,
they're so long, and they're so taxing on your body that it is difficult to believe that Joel or anyone on the Sixers that's ever played for the Sixers could withstand 8 weeks of this level of aggression and physicality and play and mental fortitude and everything that comes with it.
About winning the games, even if
Completely
they lost
forgetting
every game.
Completely forgetting about it. If they lost every game, that'd be hard to advance, but I would be interested in seeing it.
Yes.
Joel's obviously one thing, but like I need everyone to be watching these finals. I need Daryl to be watching these finals. I need Joel to be like, whenever he talks to the media again, to say, I watched the finals, that those two teams played hard as fucking hell and it has motivated me to do XYZ. I need him to say that. I need him to be an adult and say that. We're towards the end here. I know that like you and I are even just living in the hypothetical that Joel is healthy is an object of ridicule. I understand that. I'm saying it's a possibility. I'm not booking it or anything, but in a world where that's a hypothetical, like, God, you have to be watching the finals. You have to see how hard people play, and you have to adjust your off-season regimen and your mentality around this is fucking what it takes.
Playing this long. Forgetting about how long you played before.
Playing this long and this hard.
Yeah. So other thing that happened in the NBA this week, at least worth a mention, I think, is Desmond Bane gets traded from the Memphis Grizzlies to
my Memphis Grizzlies.
Your Memphis Grizzlies, your Thunder, your Pacers.
That's right.
Memphis Grizzlies to the Orlando Magic.
My Orlando Magic.
Your Orlando Magic. For KCP, who apparently was a disaster in Orlando. I didn't watch very much Orlando except when the Sixers played him.
Couldn't make the shots that he used to make. Just had a bad year shooting year.
Cole Anthony, but 4 unprotected first-round picks. 3 of them are from Orlando. One of them is some sort of like complicated worst of 4 or best of 4 picks.
It's probably going to be Phoenix's next year, they're saying.
And then 1 pick swap. Surprising, I think it looks a lot like the Mikal Bridges trade in that you're trading for a guy who is like just sub all-star but specifically fits very well for your team and trading a bunch of picks to do it because you feel like the time is now. I get it from that perspective. I think it's shocking when you first see it. You see all the picks and you're like, Jesus. I think people discounting the picks are like, well, Orlando is going to be good for the next 5 years. Well, you think, you hope, but it doesn't always work out that way. So I think it's good for both sides. If Memphis, I actually don't know what Memphis is going to do aside from avoid the second apron after they have to pay Jaren Jackson Jr. If this doesn't seem like them blowing anything up. I guess the first thing that I thought, and I think a lot of people thought from a Sixers perspective, is that if Desmond Bane is worth this, what would Tyrese Maxey be worth?
Yeah.
And I think you have to think about that in just 2 things to think about. The first thing is there are a certain number of players who raw to anyone are worth whatever they have. A limited number of players, but I don't know, 7, 8 players who, if they went on the market, the Giannis and Jokic and probably goes all the way to Tatum or whatever, that if they became available, everybody would want to trade for them no matter what their roster was. But then once you get past that, it just becomes, yes, how good are you? But is there a team that specifically wants a player like you? And I think there are some players like Bridges or Bane who fit more on multiple teams.
Yeah.
I think the issue with Maxey is like flat out, is he as good as Desmond Bane? Sure. I mean, but they're very different players in that Bane is bigger. Bane doesn't need the ball as much. Bane's a better defender. I guess the question would be, could you find a team, not saying trade Maxey, just talking about value, could you find a team who specifically wants a player like Tyrese Maxey?
Well, this again leads
part.
right. This again leads to the conversation I was having before about like, I think Maxey will be able to cover point guards and shooting guards for the most part. So he's like he's not so small and so thin. Like Trae Young is a one position defender.
Yes,
I think Maxey is a little bit
barely,
more versatile than that.
Yeah.
And yes, barely. But so yeah, Desmond Bane being bigger, there's more spots for wing type players than there is. Are you a point guard? Are you a center? And everything in between. So you just get more leeway there. So yeah, I think that you'd find fewer teams that are desperate to trade for Maxey, whereas everybody, like you said, would jump for a Bane and or Bridges. But I think Maxey could go for 3 to 4 picks. Yeah, I think it depends what else the return is and what the contracts would be to make the money match. People are saying like Luka won first round pick, which is like true, but he also went for Anthony Davis. So that's like obviously the return of Anthony Davis is better than the return of like Cole Anthony and KCP.
And a team that would want Anthony Davis would definitely trade 2 or 3 first round picks for Anthony Davis.
For sure.
Yeah, I think Maxey could fetch that. I just think, to your point and my original point, that team that would, it's easier to fit a Bane in than it is a Maxey.
Well, I mean, like
into what you're doing.
Orlando was one of the teams that Maxey could have gone to. Like that then
sure,
takes them off the market for a Maxey. They needed. Let me talk about the trade for a second because I is a fascinating trade for me. I love it. I'm very interested in this trade. Obviously, I love Desmond Bane. Loved him coming out of college. He's a tank. He is a great shooter.
He's built like a football player.
Absolutely. His muscles are like weirdly big, and you don't see that kind of muscly guy with that kind of chest also be able to shoot that good.
He looks like an action figure, by the way.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
And Orlando was like so reluctant to really ever push chips in for like, hey, can you guys get someone that can shoot? Can you please get someone that can shoot? I was begging them all last season, like, please just trade for Eric Gordon. Just trade for Eric Gordon. Trade a second round pick for Eric Gordon. I was dying for it. They didn't do it. Finally, they go all in for, not all in, but they go in with a big stack of picks for Desmond Bane, who is going to turn, he's 26, he's going to turn 27, I think, during the season. And the foursome of Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, all being between like 23 and 27 or so, meaning that they're all growing together in their prime together. They all fit, like, rather than getting Anthony Simons or Trae Young or somebody that would be like, oh, this guy doesn't play defense, but he shoots. Desmond Bane is a fucking motherfucker and plays hard as hell. Has the like Memphis attitude that was like coming at LeBron and being like, talking shit and having like a ton of moxie on the court. Like he brings that to Orlando, who is also like one of the worst offenses in the league for years, but also like a really good defensive team. And him being able to hang on the defensive end and also add to their defensive minded culture while also being able to handle the ball and, shoot off the catch, run some pick and roll, a ton of stuff. He's a really helpful player. I think he's going to make an all-star team or two in the East. I love this trade for Orlando. People talk about it like, oh, you can't trade that many picks for a guy that's never been an all-star before. But it's like the difference between the Mikal Bridges trade is that New York is New York and Orlando is Orlando. Like Orlando is not ever going to get someone that is a top 20 to 25 player sign there or demand a trade there.
Yeah.
And so like just take out the top 20 or 25 players in the league. They're never going to Orlando unless Orlando drafts them. So then it's like, okay, you're looking at a Pascal Siakam type, like Desmond Bane, those kinds of in the 25 to 40th best players in the league. Who can you get out of that? That makes a difference. And yeah, I'm not saying there's no risk. Like the Magic could certainly be bad, but they have a group of 4 players that fit really nicely together in an East that's very much wide open. They're just good, and it's like they haven't won a playoff series in 15 years. Like I love this trade for Orlando. It's definitely not without risk, but I love it for them. I love that they're going in. I think that they'll probably host a playoff series next year. And I'll talk about the Memphis side of this after this break.
Oh, jeez. It's not a break. It's part of the show, Mike.
Part of the show.
What are you talking about? It's part of the show. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by BodyBio. They're part of the Ricky. You're part of BodyBio. I'm part of BodyBio. Use code August at bodybio.com. You get 20% off. I told you about so many great BodyBio products: E-Lite, sodium butyrate, liposomal vitamin C. What else? Calm. I want to talk to you about Remineralize. Mineralize. I wish I had like a sound effect or something. Minerals, as you may or may not know, but as you may guess, are very important for your body and your body staying healthy. And normally you would get those minerals from your food or your water. But your food that grows out of the ground is coming out of soil that has been like over-farmed. So a lot of the minerals that were in that ground are not there. That ground is stripped of these essential minerals.
Naked.
And as far, say again?
I said naked.
Naked. And the water that you drink, if you use like a filter or something, again, that's good. It takes out the bad stuff, but it also takes out the minerals, which are the good stuff.
You need that.
Minerals are very important to allow your body and your body cells to let in the good stuff and keep out the bad stuff. So to make sure that you're getting the right amount of minerals, there is Remineralize. They get it from salt beds, dried salt beds in Utah. It's barely processed, just enough to keep it safe. And it's an easy way for you to get your daily dose of minerals. Put a little in your water. Maybe use an E-Lite. Maybe put a little E-Lite in your water, a little Remineralize in your water. And you make sure that you are not only hydrated with the E-Lite, then you are mineralized with Remineralize. Go to bodybio.com and use code August. You're going to get 20% off anything at bodybio.com. That is, once again, bodybio.com, promo code August. Okay.
Memphis was obviously in deep hell after like Ja both plateaued and also like had all of his off the court and some on the court issues.
Well, and he's hurt all the time now,
and
too.
he's hurt all the time.
Yeah.
They were seeming to be like on the rise, but it just like stalled out. So they trade Bane for a really good haul. They could rebuild. Like the West is so good that the idea that they're just going to be like, we're just going to go at it and try it again with all these guys, and we're going to re-sign Jaren to the biggest contract we can give him. I just wouldn't bank on that happening. If somebody blows them away for a Ja trade,
which seems unlikely.
Maybe, or they just sell at whatever they feel is a selling high. If someone feels, if like Sacramento feels like they want to go get him, whatever, and then they've been bad long enough, whatever. I think that's interesting. And then that opened the door to me to be like, if Ja goes, if they keep moving on, then a Jaren Jackson Maxey swap becomes theoretically a possibility.
I don't really like Jaren Jackson very much.
So he still has a pretty raw offensive game. He's getting better. He's become a good shooter. He can handle a little bit. He plays physical.
He's a really good defensive player, but he's one of those guys.
Elite defensive player, yeah.
When you watch him, he's not that impressive, I feel like, when you watch him as a basketball player.
Offense in the half court, not really. No.
Yeah.
But just to talk about it in theory, you move Maxey for him and Cole Anthony, makes the money work. And then your rotation, your starters next year are McCain, Grimes, Paul George, Jaren, and Embiid.
Why is Memphis doing this?
Well, Jaren is going to have to get signed to a massive
big deal after this year.
And if they think Maxey is a better guy to build around than Jaren, if the Sixers maybe would have to throw in a pick or something, I don't know. Yeah. But I'm not sure what Memphis is doing. I think Maxey and Jaren are like on the same tier of player. Obviously, they're very different players, of course. But if they just decide like Maxey is a more like, this is the kind of guy we want to build around, we don't think, because they also have Zach Edey, who is a really, really had a solid rookie year. I'd be interested to see how he keeps getting better. I don't know what Memphis is doing. I think they could rebuild. I'm not saying that, like, I'm not predicting a Jaren Maxey trade. It's just like sort of theoretically opens the door to it if Memphis decides to go where they're going.
And from a box score thing, you look at a guy that gets like fucking 6 rebounds a game, and it drives you crazy.
Yeah, like he's not an excellent rebounder, but I think he would help Embiid a lot as far as like flying around defensively, being another weak side shot blocker. He's a great shot blocker, gets his hands in everywhere. Yeah. Is big and long and can, I think, if it was an Embiid, Jaren front court, I don't think rebounding would be an issue for the Sixers.
You want to do big boards?
Yeah, I have a Daryl thought. Do you want me to do it now, or you want to save it till afterwards?
No, do the Daryl thought.
Okay, here's the Daryl thought, and
I'm
let's
so
be clear,
excited.
Daryl's always been very good to us.
Oh, no.
Especially coming off of the Brian Colangelo era.
No, he has been very good.
Daryl was so good to us. He comes on the pod. He answers our bullshit, whatever.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about the Daryl musical.
We talked about
much.
it last time it happened.
For sure.
Yeah.
But we haven't really talked about it.
Well, the only way we can really talk about it is to go fucking see it.
No, we don't need to see it. We can talk about it without while seeing
Small Ball, the musical
preview or something.
about a different Michael Jordan.
It's just like we would be killing anyone else for doing this.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, I so appreciate that Daryl is like singularly, indefatigably himself.
Yes.
But at the
Supporting
same time, like, come on, bro.
I feel like we
don't
talked
make
about this
don't
last
make a
time
fucking
Small Ball was a thing.
Really? I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I feel like we were
Yeah.
letting him off the
This is the
hook.
second run it's had in Philly. Now they're playing at the.
It's the fact that it's happening like the draft is in a week. It's the biggest draft in the world, and you're like
Well, he's not
promoting a
acting
musical.
in it.
But I'm sure he's involved in. If
not
he's having
directing
any
it.
conversation next week about Small Ball,
It's been around for like
instead
years.
of like digging in on to tape on Concaniple,
Wow.
then like
You're shut up and dribbling Daryl.
absolutely, dude, your job is so important. Like if you want to go be Jerry Colangelo and like you're like, all right, I'm just an advisor, then like fine, have other interests, dabble, do AI shit. I don't give a fuck. But like you are president of basketball operations and I love you, but like fucking on Pablo Torre Finds Out, which is just like doing such a good job, banger after banger of episodes. He had an episode about Sam Presti having a jazz and R&B album in high school that Pablo unearthed. And Sam Presti has the fucking good sense to never talk about it. He doesn't give a comment on it. He's not involved. He's just in the NBA Finals fucking crushing. And Daryl is doing a musical. And it's just like, I'm sure that he's hiring like, they're hiring actors and crew, and it's helping the arts and stuff. But like,
it's not like when we do live.
Postpone
Ricky
it for a
and
year.
I'm like,
Postpone it for a year. The Sixers were too bad this year. You shouldn't have done a fucking musical. They were too bad. You can't be like, hey man, how's it gonna look? I shouldn't do a musical the year that the Sixers
but
were
what about all
embarrassingly
the
bad.
actors and crew members that he's keeping employed by
See you in
doing
a year.
this for 2 weeks?
See you in a year. We'll do it next year. Or we'll do it in like August or September when the season is not like the draft is happening now. Look, it doesn't matter. Of course, none of this matters, but
He's not acting.
It is a little embarrassing. It's embarrassing that it's a musical from the president of basketball operations. The concept is fucking silly. Like, it's so silly. And it shouldn't have happened in a year that the Sixers were this bad. Like, I love that he doesn't care about that. I love it. But I care a little. Care a little. Come on. Can we all just say, like, Daryl, like, come on. I love you, but come on. I think we should be able to say that. I'm saying it.
Is it the Suzanne Roberts Theater? I forget the name of the theater that it's at. But Mia was going to go. Our official poet was going to go see Small Ball so she could give a review.
And frankly, it doesn't matter to me whether it's good or not. That is completely immaterial to the conversation.
Step into the surreal, magical world of Small Ball, where melancholy journeyman basketball player Michael Jordan, no, not that Michael Jordan, has recently started playing with the International League with the Lilliput Existers.
No.
As in Lilliput from Gulliver's Travels. The teammates were only 6 inches tall.
No.
Also on this site, it says that it lists the creative team and the cast and all, and there's someone dedicated for book and lyrics as well as music. So I'm thinking Daryl probably just funded this. I don't know.
Yes, he's like a producer or something.
No.
He didn't like...
No.
We definitely have talked about it before, but we
Sure.
were probably less mad at the Sixers when that happened.
Yeah. It's nice to have outside interests, but like, go fishing instead of putting on a play, putting on a musical.
I like the fact that he's employing all these artists who do not get a lot of money. It's very
Go
hard.
fishing in a boat where someone else is driving the boat. Employ that guy. Like, it's just, look, if I was running a show
Yeah.
and in the meantime, like during downtimes, I'm trying to make the NBA, I would hope that my staff, my writing staff, goes, we're trying to make a show here, and you're trying to make the NBA.
But don't we have this? This is a side interest for us. We both have jobs.
Doing this podcast twice a week is not for me at least. You do more than I do, but certainly not the undertaking that putting on a live musical performance does.
Okay. All right. Daryl, I just want you to know I fucking stood up for you. I said you don't really do much of the work. You're employing people.
I bet he does do a lot of the work. I bet he's actively involved in the production and giving notes and thought and showing up and feeling like he's supporting his guys. And I'm saying you should be in a dark room watching tape
Grinding
on Colin
tape.
Murray Boyles.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing that. And he's second. You're wasting on play. It is a wasted second.
He does.
And if the Sixers blow this pick, I'm blaming the musical. If somebody else trades up or trades back or something for a haul that I think the Sixers could have gotten, maybe Daryl didn't answer his phone because he was turning his phone off during the musical.
Do you think the Orlando called and he has like 6 missed calls because he was working on small ball?
We don't know. All I'm saying is nice to have outside interests. Maybe keep them private.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of like doing a podcast, like Podcast P. I'm mad at Podcast P for doing the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just like that I like people who support the arts.
Buy a bunch of movie tickets for some Philadelphia area children.
Buy the monthly pass from
Buy them.
Aaron.
Here you go. Here's everybody.
All right.
Daryl's always been good to us, but I gotta be real. I gotta give back to the people, like Paul George taught me.
Yep.
And I gotta be real on this podcast. And my real thoughts are, this is a little embarrassing.
Okay. I'm gonna agree that it's embarrassing, but I still don't have a problem with it. But I also see your point, and I also agree that it's embarrassing. But I've been embarrassing so much, you know. Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by MortgageCS. Become a MortgageCS VIP. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Call or text Ben, the CEO of MortgageCS, 267-391-7425. Do it right now. I dare you. Ask him. I want somebody right now to text him at 267-391-7425 and ask him what he thinks of Daryl Morey having a musical while the draft is coming. MortgageCS is going to be an ally for you as you try to buy a home. You need allies when you're trying to buy a home right now. It's not easy out there. There's a lot of bids on every house. Up here, I don't know what it's like in other areas, but up here in the Northeast, every time a house goes up, and there's not a lot of them, there's like 10 other offers and 15 other offers. And it's not just about who bids the most. It is about who has the best allies on your side. MortgageCS is that ally. They actually care whether you get the house or not. So, and realtors and respect MortgageCS. So when your bid comes in with a MortgageCS, pre-approval letter, MortgageCS is going to reach out to the realtor, assure you that your mortgage is going to close, give them confidence. All this stuff matters. All this little stuff matters. And they're good at the little stuff, man. MortgageCS, in terms of communication while you're going through all this, if there's anything you don't understand, Alec or Ben or somebody on their team is going to take tons of time explaining it to you, give you great advice. They did it for me. I had heard so many Ricky listeners talk about the experience with MortgageCS. It was so awesome to go through it and see that it's just different. This is the third house we've owned, and I had a different mortgage broker for the first 2, and they were fine people, but you just see like a hurried, rushed, short responses. MortgageCS is not like that. They treat you like you're the only client they have. They're also independent, so you don't have to worry about any quiet little deals with banks steering you one way or the other. They're steering you what is right for you. Again, mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Set up a consultation or call or text band at 267-391-7425. You don't believe me? I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Check out the Google reviews. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com/Ricky for more information. All right. You ready for the big board?
Let's
Small
do
ball
it.
guy? All
Let's
right.
do
So
it.
the way we have done it in the past is that I've gone over mine first so you can react. And do you want to do it that way or do you want to go first?
No, you should go first.
Okay. To be clear, I did this sort of with the Sixers in mind, but it ends up being the players that I like watching the most. I think the last time I did a big board or 2 times ago, Jeremy Sohan was my favorite guy. I can't truly tell you who's going to be the best player in the NBA. That stuff goes through my head, but these are the guys that I enjoy watching the most.
Okay.
And then I have some.
So that's the ethos that you went into this with.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I would love seeing any of these guys play on the Sixers, though not all these guys fit perfectly on the Sixers. Number 9 on my YouTube big board is Trey Johnson. I thought he was going to be much higher. He is an outrageous shooter, a super exciting offensive player, but I can't get out of my head that I have trouble thinking the reason he's not higher about like the NBA. I have trouble thinking about like a starter that is exactly like Trey Johnson. He feels, when I watch players like this, they feel like 6 men to me. So he feels a little bit like Jordan Clarkson or something. Like he feels like a guy who comes in, heats up, is great. He is an outrageous shooter. And he does seem like he's got at least a pretty decent handle, and I enjoyed him. He's fast and all that stuff. I like him. That's why he's 9, but those are the reasons why he's not higher than 9.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable worry to have. I think that certainly sixth man that shoots really well is probably a low to median end outcome, like a 40% outcome. I'd say it's a little bit pessimistic, but not like completely out of the realm of possibility. My concern is, as I've said, is because I have him 3rd. I've said that already. My concern with Trey is that he didn't at Texas rebound really at all. His defense was not super engaged, but he has all the tools to do so. And because of how bad the situation was at Texas last year, I'm willing to overlook a lot of that stuff and hope that star potential wise, he has some of the highest star equity in the class because of his ability to get his own shot, his ability to be a role player on offense because he can shoot off movement. And I do think he is a good secondary initiator at his age and his performance level at a high end SEC school. Those percentages, I just go like, the upside is worth gambling on. Like there are definite flags that pin me back, but I'm willing to say like I think he'll overcome them in the right situation.
And by the way, there's flags for almost every top guy in this draft,
yeah,
except for
which is why I want to trade back.
Yep. Number 8. And by the way, like aside from a couple of these guys that end up being my favorites, I would say 3/4 of these guys I hadn't ever really heard of until I started watching the YouTube stuff.
How many people did you watch, give or take?
30.
Okay. All right, good.
Yeah, I always watch a lot of them.
Okay.
Now there are some guys, like I'll say this, Malawash from Duke
Yeah.
is one of the worst YouTube watches I've ever watched in my entire life.
Sure.
The guy, you're 30 seconds into it, and the highlight is he set a fucking screen. I was just like, get this guy off my fucking screens. So they don't all last, but some guys last longer than others. Number 8, Neek Clifford.
Okay.
I think
Neek Clifford played at Colorado State. Lost to Derek Queen in the second round of the NCAA tournament on the Derek Queen buzzer beater. Neek is we talked about him a little bit. He's like Josh Hardy. He is older, 22 give or take, which so is Josh Hart. That kind of player, the like ready-made wing who has some on-ball juice, improved as a shooter, and has a high motor and plays hard and is high basketball IQ. Why'd you like him?
He seemed like he was good at everything.
Yeah.
There were two things. First of all, he seemed like he was good at everything. He seemed like a really solid shooter. He seemed like a really aware scorer, and a good passer and a good defender. But he also played really hard, it seemed like, all the time. And like, based on some of the things you were saying before, that was something that is in my mind now. And I read after I liked him that he was older.
Yeah.
But I also go back and I think like, okay, he's not 30. I start going through this, like people talking about Ty Robinson, the guy that the Eagles took in the 4th round. I'm like, why did he drop? And they're like, oh, he's 23. I'm like, well,
well, here's the difference, right? So
Yeah.
this is why it's a concern. So he's 23. This is his 5th year in college, and he played his first 3 years at Colorado, transferred down to the Mountain West, Colorado State. Last year averaged like 19, 10, and 4 with a 1.2 steals and half a block on good percentages and high volume usage rate. He was doing it all. But if you go back to his first year in college, which is 2021 with Colorado, he averaged 1 point a game and 0.3 rebounds and 0.4 assists. He just barely played. And then the second year, he averaged like 7 and 5. And the next year was 6 and 4. And so the concern is you're looking at freshmen compared to that, and you're like,
yeah,
well,
maybe he peaked.
well, Trey Johnson averaged 20 as a freshman
Right,
in
right.
Texas. And in Colorado, in a worse conference, he averaged 1. And so it's like, maybe that's what's hard about Jaden Springer was the guy that came out after his freshman year and had a pretty good freshman season. But like, if he stayed 5 years in college, would he have gotten that much better? Like, it's like that's you're
Yeah.
judging ready-made players, which Nick Clifford is, against projects, which most freshmen coming out are, like a Drake Powell or something. They're pretty similar players. If Drake Powell, not exactly, but if Drake Powell stayed 5 years and transferred down from UNC to like, I don't know, Wake Forest or something, then you could go like, oh, wow, now he averages 20 and now he's really good, but now he's 23. So how much more improving does he have to do? And so this is the hard part of the draft of like,
Yep.
You look really smart when you draft Derek White or Josh Hart, and you look stupid when you draft like, pick a freshman that did pretty good but never got Patrick Williams, whatever. Yeah,
Well,
that's hard.
because the truth is, the hard part is that like their age doesn't necessarily indicate where they are in their development as a basketball player.
For sure.
Sometimes it does, but sometimes guys get to 19, 20 and they never get any better from that.
Yeah.
So
Some
but I
guys
agree.
like figured out like and got all of a sudden this guy got way better. All of a sudden he
Right.
got way better, and then he was like on this new development path. Whereas whereas some guys just Cam Reddish was an incredible high school prospect, comes to Duke, looks okay, and just like super plateaus, never gets better.
Yep. Number 7, I'm going to try on this guy's name. Kasparas Jakuchioni. Is that close?
You really got wild there. It's interesting that you have it. You don't. It's look, I respect it.
Yeah.
From the school of Og, it's Yakushonis.
Yakushonis.
He's Lithuanian.
Oh.
He played at Illinois.
Oh, maybe when I copied and pasted the name, I forgot the S at the end
Maybe.
of it.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's Italian.
That's very good. That's very good.
All right. So that's an all-timer. There you go. There you go. Congratulations, Internet. I think he is fucking great. He can get anywhere he wants on the floor. Like when I'm watching him, I actually thought of who did I think of? Like Bob Sura a little bit. Like he can get wherever he wants on the floor. He is a super aware passer. He is a great shooter. When I was watching him, he feels so alive when he's playing. And so in the game, he was really impressive. Like I wanted to put him higher than I did because I think, like debatably, he was my favorite guard that I watched.
Interesting.
From a skills perspective.
Interesting. I did a lottery big board. I wanted I wanted to go deeper, but I did a full lottery, and a lot of people like Yakushonis. Played his freshman ball at Illinois. Is absolutely a big guard type that is a good passer, high IQ player. I didn't rank him because he seems really slow.
You remind me of the Bogdanovich a little bit.
Yeah, to me, he's like a worse shooting Bogdanovich. Okay. And I just don't know what that guy does in the NBA. I'm watching the finals and I'm like, he's not going to be able to play in these finals.
I don't
is he
know,
good
man.
enough? Is he good enough to have the ball in his hands when he's like not good enough to stay on the floor on defense? I don't love the jumper. He shot 31.8% from three. He tailed off, and Will Riley, who's also a prospect and will probably be a first-round pick in this draft, who's also a freshman in Illinois as well, ended up becoming like having a better second half of the year than Yakushonis did. People like him a lot. A lot of people have him higher than I do. Sam Vecini has him at 7. But he's a smart player and he can pass, and that's important. I don't see him defending, and I don't love the shot. And as far as like high motor goes, I wasn't seeing it. I dinged him for that.
Okay. Number 6, you'll like this one. I remembered you had said his name when I ended up like him, is Colin Murray Boyles.
Okay, let's go. Talk to me about him. What do you like him? So played 2 years at South Carolina. His freshman year, he missed a lot of this, like a month or two with mono. So he was working his way back from that. That's probably why he stayed 2 years. Go for it. Let's hear it.
Well, he plays way bigger and stronger than he seems to be. Like he like fucking just trucks people.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. Really strong, really good under the basket. But a lot of those guys that are strong, like they tend not to have that lift, but he seems to have that too. He's not scared to dunk on anybody. He is a good passer for the kind of player that he is.
Yeah.
Like very quick passer. And he's a great defender too. I mean, he pops off the screen the same way. Now, Sohan is a lunatic, but he pops off the screen the same way that Sohan did when I watched him a couple years ago.
Yeah. I just love Colin Murray Boyles, man. I love him. He's 6'7", 240. He's thick as hell. He's a lefty. He is maybe the best defender in this class. He's not like he's a different kind of defender than Cooper Flagg is, but like can switch, moves his feet, great hands, can be a weak side rim protector. He could probably play small ball 5 and be good enough there. He's a 7'1" wingspan. The concern is that he's not a good shooter right now. He has nice touch on the interior and from the mid range. He's at 71% from the line, which is workable. But he has really good touch around the rim. He didn't shoot at all his freshman year, and he shot like a little bit his sophomore year. So, and the shot even at the combine like looks not natural. Yeah. But there was a great SB Nation article that Ricky O'Donnell wrote, where he talked to like his high school coaches. It just came out. I posted on Blue Sky. It's great. He's like all the intangibles. He's got the right mindset. Coaches love him. He was playing on a bad South Carolina team because guys just like kept missing shots on the perfect passes that he was giving them, and he never got down. He plays hard as hell. Like he's just I think he's going to make an all defense team. High end comp from my friend Brian Schroeder is like Paul Millsap. I think better defensive Paul Millsap is kind of like where it could potentially be. He does some of the Draymond stuff. You can't assume that he's going to be Draymond, but he does some of the Draymond stuff. And I think pairing him with Maxey and McCain would just be so ideal. He covers up so many of their issues and then can weaponize how fast they are without the ball. And they can become like a really like dribble handoff, short roll type of stuff. I love Colin Murray Boyles, man. I think he'd be great. Is it like low on the offensive star upside? For sure. But he's got a good handle. He's a really smart passer. He's a great rebounder. He just does everything well except for shoot. And I trust the touch inside and like the work ethic that he will become a decent shooter.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by Ethos Support. Quite
Ethos.
Simply, Ethos, which is E.T. has hose?
E.T. has hose, yeah.
Yeah, E.T. has hose.
E.T. has hose.
That's what they stand for. They'll get you hose. No. Ethos Support.
They'll get you hose.
The thing for your lawn. Ethos Support, quite simply, what they do is, if you're a company who needs a better customer support thing that's happening on your website or on your phone line or whatever, they put that team together for you. And you don't have to sign a contract with them, and they can do it as little as 2 weeks, and it is going to be good customer support, like customer support that is going to make people like your company more. If you're interested, if you're a decision maker, if you own a company, you can call or text Blair at 240-593-2485. I'll say that again slowly. 240-593-2485, or go to ethossupport.com/Ricky, and you can learn more about them. Like we've said this a bunch of times. We talk about Ethos Support. It is so important that your customer support is even better than you think it should be. And I know when you're working or you're answering the phone, everything's great. But what happens is you have to worry about what is happening when you're not there, after hours or on weekends, or if you're not available. And just a phone number that goes to a voicemail or an email address on the website, you think it's enough because you think you can get it to everything, or it's not good enough. What is good enough is you want people, when they're having a bad time with whatever you sell or do, which is why usually they're working out or they have a question, to change how they feel because you solved their problem. Ethos Support is not only just going to put together a customer support solution and team for you, and not just phone, but chat, email, social media, all that stuff, but they are learning about your brand, making sure that these people that are working for you know about it, to give people that reach out to you the best answers possible when you're not able to do it. Customer support should make people like your company better and become advocates for your company, even when things are going wrong. And that's what Ethos Support can do. Again, just good enough is not good enough. Your customer support is the most important thing you do aside from your product. If you think yours could be better, just reach out to Ethos Support, and they can tell you all about it. Again, go to ethossupport.com/Ricky, or call or text Blair at 240-593-2485. Okay, number 5 is Dylan Harper.
Okay.
Now, I know people are saying, we might say, well, he's supposed to go 2. Dylan Harper being 5 is actually pretty high for me, considering the kind of player that Dylan Harper is. And what I look for, I like guys that are springier than Dylan Harper is. I like guys that are like fucking pop, and he doesn't. But what I really was impressed by is I am super impressed with how ambidextrous he is as a ball handler and as a finisher. Mm-hmm. And it pops like right away. And you can, when you watch enough guys that don't have this, when they do have it, it's pretty impressive. And I think he's also got a really great sense of space on the floor, sort of like Harden does, in that he can get to spots and manipulate and get to where he wants to go without having out of this world athleticism. He's a really impressive player, and he's a big guy too. I actually was pretty confused watching him, thinking about how, because I do have this predetermined thing in my head about Rutgers, that they have 2 top 3 picks and they're fucking under 500. And I still think you can hold that against him. But he doesn't play like a guy who you would think would be part of that. Like,
no, they were just really bad across the board. They were bad as a team. And he was also injured or banged up for a good chunk of the season.
He's an unselfish player. He's a real point guard, you know, like he's a point guard. I can't tell. You watch him shoot, and I know the numbers aren't great. You watch him shoot, it looks fine. Yeah. And he's so good around the rim. Who knows? But he was as unimpressive as I find Ace Bailey to watch. I found Dylan Harper actually really, really impressive.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 6'5", big frame, really good ball handler, great hesitation, great first step, plays at his speed, should be able to defend really well. If you could create in a lab somebody to be the bigger more point guardy guy to like Tyrese Maxey, like Dylan Harper is the guy. Yeah, like it'd be great if they found a way to trade up. Who knows if it's real? Maybe that smoke was just Sixers smoke that they're trading up to 2. But if they found a way to get Dylan Harper, that's like a really, really, really good fit.
Yeah, I was impressed by him. I would be excited if he was a Sixer.
Yeah.
And I thought that, I thought that Cooper Flagg would be the only guy that I would watch and be like, oh man, actually really good. But I thought Dylan Harper was really good.
Yeah, he's gonna be good. He's gonna make an All-Star team a bunch of times.
Number 4, I have VJ Edgecombe. He was Olinger's pick to be my YouTube a YouTube big board darling for me. I love him. He's a kind of a maniac. He seems like he's always playing at 100 miles an hour in a controlled way. I love guys that I love his physically. He is made for the NBA at this point. He's built I look at him and I feel like he's built like Dwayne Wade. And I also think one of the things I noticed about Ace Bailey, who is not on my YouTube big board, is that all of the criticisms about him, you can even see in his highlights, which I think is a bad sign. Like you're watching Ace Bailey highlights and you're like, man, every shot really is hard. Like why didn't he blow by anybody, even on his highlights? But VJ Edgecombe, I know that people talk about his handle not being that good and him not being that good a shooter, but you watch him and it feels like it's there. It feels like it could be there. The
shooting certainly is off the catch for sure.
Yeah.
The question is will he ever be able to become like a pull-up jump shooter, which is that unlocks like the next like star dimension, and that's probably unlikely, not impossible, but like as a catch and shoot guy, like there's no reason why he shouldn't be like successful as that player.
I would love to have him on the Sixers, man. He would, and he's a motherfucker. We were talking. I mean, so many of these guys that I've talked about. You talked about watching the finals. I don't know if all these guys are good enough to play in the finals, but I think to myself, could that guy play in the finals? Yeah. And Edgecombe could play in the finals. Is not getting played off the floor in any way.
No, right now VJ Edgecombe could step in there and do what like Cason Wallace and Lou Dort, and like defensively Andrew Nembhard, like Neesmith, like he could be one of those guys that just like another like athletic body that flies all around the court, that gets loose balls, 50-50 balls. He's great in transition. He's really got an impressive ability to finish. He's got stuff to clean up for sure. He's a kid. Right now he's a complementary offensive player. The like small chance that he becomes like, oh, he's this athletic and he's this high character of a kid, that his effort and motor and ability will coalesce, and all of a sudden he just like his handle just clicks and he's suddenly a number one guy. There's shades of Victor Oladipo, but odds are Danny Chow gave him a good comp that I like, which is Kentavious Caldwell Pope bitten by a radioactive spider, and that's kind of what it's like.
By the way, that's a good player.
That's a great player.
That's a winning
That's
player.
a really good player. If they watching these finals and like the Trey Johnson like rebounding concerns that I have started to make me 3 and 4 are pretty close. So Trey Johnson and VJ Edgecombe are like a very close 3 and 4 for me. And if they sat at 3 and just picked VJ Edgecombe, would I be like a little bit disappointed? Probably, because I still don't think that there's much drop in this draft, like from 3 to 8 or 9. And I think that they could have picked it. They could have worked something on the margins, got a future first round pick, whatever it is, whatever they end up getting. But he's a good player and he'd be helpful and he'd be a high character guy and a nice fit with Maxey and McCain, and it would be perfectly fine.
All right. So next 2, I feel like you're going to laugh at. Even I will pronounce them correctly, but number 3 was Jeremiah Fears.
Whoa.
Dude, he's just got a sick handle.
Yeah, really good handle. Freshman from Oklahoma State, point guard.
Yeah, and he's like, he looks little. Is he little?
Yeah. Oklahoma, not Oklahoma State.
He's got a sick handle. He's a really good passer. He's a good finisher. And again, now, shooting stats didn't look good when I looked at him, but I bet he's going to be able to shoot. He reminded me of Isaiah Thomas a little bit. New Isaiah Thomas, not the first Isaiah Thomas. I just fucking love him. I liked him better than Trey Johnson, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not as he needs the ball in his hands. He's not as good of a shooter.
Yeah.
But he took a lot of tough shots. He's super young, really twitchy with the ball in his hands. Is a point guard, would play point guard stuff. I don't think he's gonna ever defend at an even like close to average level, due to his size and stuff, but he's super shifty with the ball in his hands. I think he's more of a sixth man. I think he's what like people thought Cole Anthony would be.
I really like Cole Anthony too, in the same way, by the way.
Yeah. So he has to be. You have to be so good with the ball in your hands to earn it when you're not that great of an off ball shooter and you're not that great of and you're not going to defend. And so there's a lot of people I respect that like Jeremiah Fears a lot. He's really fun to watch. He wears number 0 at Oklahoma. And he does get to the line, which I think is a really an important trait in a guy that needs the ball in his hands a lot. I just don't. You got to be so good to be a one position defender that is a one need the ball in his hands guy. 6'5" wingspan. He's just coming up a little short for me, so he's not on my board. But certainly like watching him.
Number 2 is Carter Bryant.
Okay, freshman from Arizona, came off the bench the entire season. Talk to me.
Okay, so here's what I thought about watching Carter Bryant. First of all, awesome athlete, really cool on defense.
Yep.
But I thought to myself, this is like if Kelly Oubre only did the stuff that we like for him to do. Mm-hmm. Like cutting, defending, dunking.
Yep.
Like he seemed like a pretty disciplined player for his age. I enjoyed him quite a bit. He dunks on people, he cuts, he defends. He is again, another guy that I could see playing in the finals. I liked him.
Yes,
a ton.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the weird thing, like you wish that he went to Arizona, good Arizona team this year, brought him off the bench the entire season, but like his role became more and more important. Strictly a 3-and-D guy in college. Didn't pass, didn't really handle, ran the floor in transition, defended guys. Like you could squint and be optimistic and see some like Shane Battier. He's prototypical perfect size. Shane Battier was just such a smart player that like comparing anyone to him is hard. But like textbook made in a lab, big wing that should be able to defend. I think probably he'll be able to like at least competently defend 5 positions. I think he'll be able to slide his feet. I think he's big enough and strong enough as an 18-year-old to be able to move with most centers. I think he's a really good player. I think he could be like high end. Like could he be like Anunoby with a better jumper, a more natural jumper? But Anunoby developed his game more. Carter Bryant is so young and has ways to go, but I like him a lot. This is a like pretty textbook role player bet. Like it's hard to imagine him ever becoming, because he did so little aside from like run to the corner, run to the rim,
but only a freshman
type stuff. But only freshmen for sure. But there's freshmen that took on more of an opportunity. So was that like illustration of his lack of ability, or was it just the situation that he was in Arizona on a good Arizona team, already being a role player? But he's a high character kid. People like him. I like Carter Bryant. He's going to play NBA basketball for a good team.
And boring. Number 1's Cooper Flagg, who lives up to everything.
Look at you. I thought I was really expecting you to not do this. That's a mature thing. Spike, that's a mature thing to do, and I'm commending you for it.
Well, I've been truthfully, I've been watching YouTube of him for a year. When he played with like the USA team or played against the USA team.
Yeah.
And I would say that the only thing that I noticed watching him now compared to then is that he's put on weight, like he's bulkier, and I kind of liked watching him when he was a little less bulky. He maybe it was just what I was watching him doing compared to what I'm watching him doing now. But man, is he like, he's definitely going to be good. I mean, he is, and by the way, I think he'll be good right away.
Yeah.
Like he does enough things other than the scoring things, which is probably not his signature thing. He does enough things where you could put him in to a competitive team right now, which is why it's a bummer we didn't get the number 1 pick. And he would be able to contribute on a competitive team right away. He's just good, man.
He's just good. Would have been nice to get him. He's good at everything.
Yeah.
I think perfect world. I find it hard to believe that he's ever going to be like number 1 option offensively in the half court on a like championship contending team. Mm-hmm. But so what? You know what I mean? Like he's so good at other stuff, and you just got to have a guy next to him, like you would probably have to do anyway, that like can do a little bit more of getting his own shot and can do some creating for others. Yeah, he's a really good player, really good athlete, two-way, does everything right. He's awesome. So you don't have some. So just to recap.
Yeah. Now I have notes on some other guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, So you don't have Con Knipple on your board.
So I gave him an honorable mention.
He's on mine, so we'll get to him. But you don't have Con Knipple.
Nope.
You don't have Ace Bailey.
Nope.
You don't have Derek Queen.
Nope. I watched him though.
You don't have Malawatch.
No.
You don't have Yegor Demon. Are sort of the
and Demon I don't have any notes on. So
Demon. I considered him. He's BYU. He's a Russian point guard that's like 6'9", super skinny, pretty slow, but like an electric passer, like really really good passer and big. And the shot looks pure. He didn't shoot that well in college, but the shot it's slow, but it looks good. He's just pretty slow, and I struggled. Like maybe you could go, okay, that's there's some Denny Avdia there with better passing and less physicality, but like you kind of need the physicality to stay on the floor. Otherwise, he's just going to get bodied out of there. But he could be like Kyle Anderson-y or something like that. I don't know. But he's a good passer, interesting player, fun guy to watch at BYU. All right, so I did a lottery style. There's the guys that are not on my board. I didn't put Malawatch also for some of the reasons that you listed. It's basically like he is a rim running center that can play drop. Like that's what he does. He doesn't do anything else. He is late to basketball, so maybe you can say, hey, there's some nice touch on his free throw, and like he's hitting some threes in an empty gym, like that kind of thing. But like I'm just not taking. I sent a whole long text to Sixers at him. I'm just not taking a center with a top 5 pick unless they're generational. I'm just not doing it. Like a one position defender is just so not worth it. You can look through so many guys that over the last 10, 15 years and go like, that was a waste of a top 5 pick. You could have gotten somebody like best case scenario is Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert went 27th overall. I think 27, 28. And he's young. He got 0 rebounds in an NCAA tournament game. Like is he probably going to be good? Yes, but like I'm just not taking a one position defender.
I'd probably I don't know, man. Maybe he'll be good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just too many like one position centers over the last 15 years drafted in the top 10. Wiseman, Jackson Hayes, Mo Bamba.
I feel like I'm watching Hashim Thabit out there.
Zach Collins. Yeah. Alex Len. Cody Zeller, like, are you happy to draft those guys in the top 5? Like Jonas Valanciunas, Bismack Biyombo, like you got to give me a generational guy. Like the only average, like the couple average center only centers drafted in the top 10 in the last like 15 years are like Andre Drummond, who I guess was above average for a while and settled into being like a fine player, and like Jakob Poeltl. Like DeAndre Ayton at 1 is disappointing, but I guess he's like average NBA player. Onyeka Okongwu is like fine, like positive, but there's just more guys that you can just get those guys. He's also so young. He's going to have a hard time doing it right away. And so he might be a second contract team as he figures it out.
He is going to be a bust. He's going to be a bust.
I don't think he's going to be a bust. I think he's going to be fine, but I'm not. When you draft a wing, there's more. It's like drafting a quarterback. You really got to be right. You really got to be right that this guy is special. Otherwise, you're like, now I'm stuck with this guy, and I spent so much real estate on him. Jakob Jonas, we talked about. Jeremiah Fears, we talked about. Yegor Demon, we talked about. 14 on my board. We didn't really talk about him. I kind of meant to this whole time, but it's St. Joe's power forward Rasheer Fleming. Did you watch any Rasheer Fleming?
He's pretty good. Yeah,
he's a good player, man. He's huge. He's crazy athletic. He came out after his junior year. I think he's like Mike Scott, if Mike Scott was a really good defender. I think he totally could play in these finals. Not right now. I mean, he's got stuff to work on. Like he is not that high IQ of a player. He's not a great passer, but he's developing. He's getting better. The shot looks really good. He shoots it quick. I think he could be like a Covington-esque offensive player. And he's got a fucking 7'5" wingspan as a power forward. He's massive. He's fast. His athletic testing is really good. And he defends like hell. He should be a nice weak side rim protector. If he, for some reason, and he's kind of all over the board, and the fact that he wasn't like super dominant while playing in like a mid-major is like, yeah, I don't think he's got star potential, but I think he's going to be a positive two-way player that can shoot and defend. Maybe a better defensive Bobby Portis type of thing. If he starts to fall into the 20s, I would love for the Sixers to trade up from 35 and go get him. I think he's a nice player. 13, I have Nick Clifford. I love Nick Clifford.
Oh, I didn't know you liked him that much.
I think he's awesome, and he's one of my guys. Like this kind of guy is like one of my guys. There's these guys in every draft class. Sometimes I'm wrong. Like Colby Jones in the year or two ago was one of my guys at Xavier. He hasn't had a good NBA career yet, but like this kind of athletic, plays his ass off, like high IQ, does a little bit of everything guy, Josh Hart, Derek White, like these kinds of players are my guys. And I think Nick Clifford is going to be a solid, either, fourth or fifth option starter or like very helpful reserve. I think he's going to be good. 12, we haven't talked about him. French 18-year-old Noah Senge. Did you watch much of him?
Yeah, all I wrote was this guy has horrible YouTube clips.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like him at all. Now,
Well,
by the way, I am scarred. He's a Euro guy, right? You said
He's French. He's French, yeah.
Ever since getting burned on TLC and Furcon, who's the first guy I really, really liked? Maybe 2014.
Hezonja.
Yeah, Mario Hezonja. I just can't trust it. I can't trust Euro YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super young. He's 6'8" with a 6'11" wingspan. Really bouncy. Isn't making shots right now, but he's willing to take them, which I think is an important confidence thing. He shot 73% from the line this year. I think he's going to be fine. He's just high motor player, really good blocks and steals guy. The fact that he's this young, like Brian Schroeder has him, like Nick Batum, Dorian Finney-Smith type guy. High-end athlete, long enough, big wing. I think he's a pretty high IQ, and especially at his age, so he's going to keep getting better. I like him. I think he's also kind of all over the map, but he'll probably end up going in the teens somewhere. But I think he's a good player. 11, we talked to our friend J. Kyle Mann about this guy a lot, and this is a little higher. This is a vote of I think there's a chance that if the shot gets better, he could play some 4. That's why I have him a little bit higher. I have him at 11. Is Thomas Sorber at Georgetown?
Do I have any notes on him? I don't.
Freshman big. Will probably end up being a center in the NBA, but if you happen to draft him for the Sixers, I do think like and the shot improves and the shot looks good to me. I do think could improve. He's just a really smart player. He just makes all the right plays. I think J. Kyle Mann called him like a right play machine, and the advanced stats love him. Some Wendell Carter Jr., some Al Horford. Like I think he's just a really, really good player. Does everything right, long as hell, but defends really well in space. Good passer for a big, like kind of just does everything right. I think he's just a good player. 10, another guy you did not have on the board, who has been a late riser over the last few months, was supposed to transfer to Duke, but
Cedric Howard,
but didn't end up, but decided to turn pro. Is Cedric Howard? So I have
him as an honorable mention. His interview YouTube is A+. I believe in the kid. Watching his highlights is just not that impressive. I wanted to like watching him a little bit more than I did.
I hear that. Did you watch him? Did you watch any of his combine highlights?
No, just game highlights.
It's mesmerizing.
Really?
Dude, it's empty gym stuff, but he missed most of his last year. So he's 21, he'll probably turn 22 soon. He is like, he's NBA wing sized, like perfect body, 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. I mean, beautiful shot, gorgeous shot, like unbelievable shot. And there's combine highlights of just him shooting, and the ball just like oozes into the rim. It's like it just goes in so easily. He's long, he's switchable, he's going to be a positive defensive player, and some guys just have a late development curve. They just do. And I think that his feel for the game, I think, is pretty high. His shot is impeccable. The body is great. He's athletic. He tested well athletically. I think there's a small chance that there's a, how good Jalen Williams got for Oklahoma City impacts this for me. And the concern for me with Cedric Howard and why I was nervous about ranking this high is because played at Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
Transfers to Washington State, only plays a few games, hurts his shoulder, and is going to transfer to Duke. And it's he just never played against good teams and did well against them. And you would like to see that happen. It didn't because of conference and injuries. But in a draft like this, a little whisper of upside, I'm happy to rank him 10th.
Yeah, I wish it would have been disingenuous if I said that I actually liked watching him that much, but I do like him and want to like him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
9, I have Carter Bryant.
Yeah,
we talked about him. Really good player. Those 6 guys that I just named. Those are tier 3 for me.
Okay.
This is outside. I wouldn't trade unless I got a really, really perfect haul. I mean, some of these guys that I'm about to name are could be taken at 9 or whatever, but I wouldn't trade down unless somebody in my second tier is available. And so Carter Bryant, I have 9. 8 is the end of the second tier for me, and it's Derek Queen.
Yeah.
He's just a basketball player. I mean, the athletic testing is absolutely a concern. I wouldn't take him at 3. I wouldn't be thrilled to pay him that much money right away. I wouldn't be thrilled to expect that much out of him right away. But if you trade down to 8 or 9 or something, he's just a really good player. He's a really smart player. Being that big and that good of a passer and that good of a get your own shot guy matters. I do think he's going to rebound well at the NBA level to where he can play some 4 with Joel or not Joel. I think the shot will eventually come around. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's I think his athletic limitations will keep him from being special, but I think there's a chance he's just high end. The fact that he's also that old as a freshman kind of dings him a little bit. If he was 18 instead of 20, then I would be oh, okay. But he's some of it he's just using for most of his career. He's just been I'm just bigger and stronger than you, and that's going to happen at sometimes at the NBA level. But it's not going to happen enough for me to think that he's the guy at 3. But I do like him. I don't like him as much as Ollinger or MOC, but I like him. 7, I have Ace Bailey.
Can I just add one quick YouTube thing on Ace Bailey?
Yeah, go for it.
How did anyone watching him think he was 6'10"? You can 6'10" pops when you're watching. He doesn't look 6'10" at all.
Because he's really skinny. And so he just it's an illusion. I
was unimpressed.
Yeah, I mean, look, he hits crazy shots off movement off the catch. Incredible balance and focus to be able to hit the kinds of shots he was hitting with hands in his face. He can pull up against anybody. You can see why people are comparing him to Kevin Durant and Paul George. But Kevin Durant and Paul George at that age were such better ball handlers and could get by almost anyone all the time. And there's no clip. A clip does not exist of Ace Bailey blowing by somebody off the dribble.
Dude, it's crazy. Even in his highlight packages, they're not in there.
It doesn't exist. He didn't do it. Anytime he gets a step on somebody, they catch up to him and he pulls up. And the reason I have him at 7 is because I do think he's going to shoot, even though he was not. The percentages were not good at Rutgers because the shot selection wasn't good. But I do think he's going to be a fine shooter. I do think he's going to be a fine defender. And at that size, with how high he shoots it, I do think he's eventually going to be a pretty good NBA player. But I don't think it's going to be with the team that drafts him, especially if they draft him to be their best player. And he's not taking interviews. He's not working out for teams. I guess it was announced today that eventually he's going to work out for the Sixers on Friday, maybe.
Yeah, I think he meets with them on Thursday and then works out with them on Friday, I think.
Yeah, so there's questions of how willing are you to take a secondary role? the hope is somebody falls in love with him and is willing to trade up to get him. I would like to exploit that team and get some future picks or a good player along with that. But I do have him at 7 because I think defensively, I think he is going to be above average, and you could see him being useful defensively, plus the shot and like plus in transition. Like that's kind of enough in a to me a relatively weakish, not crazy weak because of how good Flagg and Harper are, but a relatively weak draft class. 6, I have Colin Murray-Boyles. I'm high on him.
Yeah.
I'm the high man on Colin Murray-Boyles. I just think I'm just like banking on the fact some guys you just know are going to be good. Some guys you just know like this guy is good at too many things to not be good. And Brian Schroeder had the concerns like, yeah, maybe he's just Grant Williams. I think he has way better touch than Grant Williams. I think he's a better passer than Grant Williams, and I think he's more versatile as a defensive player than Grant Williams. I did like Grant Williams coming out of college. Like I'm admitting this. I'm admitting it. It's my kind of player, but I think that
big ass too.
Big ass. I like a big ass.
Yeah.
I like a guy that plays hard. I think he'll be better than Grant Williams. He's gonna have to shoot. He's just gonna have to shoot. He's gonna have to become a better shooter. But I would love to run some offense through him at the nail. I would love to run dribble handoff stuff. I'd love to see what that looks like with him with actual good shooters, because there were just no good shooters that play with him at South Carolina. So that's Colin at 6. 5, I have Con Knippel. You didn't draft him. You didn't rank him. Why?
Yeah, so because it would be he's not a YouTube guy. He is going to be a good player. You can tell he's going to be a good player. I think the thing that I didn't expect when I was watching him is like he seems like he's really strong. Really strong. Like he sort of like does this on offense and create a little space or whatever. And defensively, he's like it's so funny with a white guy. Like he's not quick on his feet, but he is very what's the word I'm looking for? He's just very disciplined defensively. Like he stays in front of his guy, and he's really strong. So I thought he was good. I would be fine if it would be weird if they picked him at 3, I think. But I'd be fine if they ended up with him. He just wasn't super exciting to watch on YouTube. That was it. He is one of the, obviously Cooper Flagg is generational, but like Con had such a good freshman year at Duke, and he was the reason why they got so many good, easy shots over and over again. They didn't have, I don't like Tyrese Proctor, who's Duke's point guard. Con really became like the best distributor on that team. He throws really good lobs through, turned Malawach into a NBA prospect with how many easy lobs he got from him. He's an excellent shooter off movement. He's super, super strong on drives. Not a creative ball handler, but gets to where he needs to be. He's just not an athlete. He tries really hard on defense, but he's never going to be able to. I don't think he's a bad athlete, though. He's not like, he can jump a little bit, but he's, I think, weak going side to side. Sure. I guess what I would say is like being strong, like, is part of being an athlete. Yeah. Right. Yeah. He's course. Not springy or whatever. Not springy, not too much run and jump, not too much side to side. But yeah, he's a total package as as an off ball player. Will be a nice secondary creator, secondary initiator, will cut really hard, will do a lot of good stuff. If in the offseason Jared McCain turned into a 6'8" power forward, I would take Con Knippel and be very happy with it. But it's hard to imagine taking another guy that is not overwhelmingly athletic, which Maxey and McCain aren't, and is not overwhelmingly good on defense, which Maxey and McCain aren't. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like you're really setting yourselves up as like not an NBA level athletic team if you draft him. It's a shade low upside, but I think he could be Desmond Bane-esque. I think that's a decent comp. I think if you really believe in him on ball, because he's younger than Bane was coming out, like if you believe in him, you could make yourself believe that he could be Devin Booker. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's able to get by people the way Booker does, but he's a good player, man. He's just a really good player.
and I have him at 5. 4, I have VJ Edgecombe. We talked about him a lot. 3, I have Trey Johnson. So the Trey Johnson, VJ Edgecombe, Con Knipple, Colin Murray Boyles, Ace Bailey, Derek Queen. That's my tier 2. And then tier 1, I have Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper 1, 2.
Okay, there you go. That's good. I feel like we had more, like we had some of the same guys.
Yeah.
You know, Colin
Some
Murray
similar
Boyles.
guys.
Yeah.
You did the work.
I did the work.
You did the work.
A lot of fucking YouTube, man. A lot of YouTube. I was blown away. By Malawatch, and just any other notes. Jace Richardson has smoker's arms.
He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be a fine player. I think he's ultimately gonna be a backup.
Maxime Reynaud, no thanks. I just wrote.
I'd be fine with him at 35. Stanford big man. You keep going through this, but I just want to keep. Let me comment each time. Stanford big man who can shoot a little bit, rebound a little bit. Not an NBA athlete, but as a 7-footer that can shoot a little bit. I'm still mad that they never took Jay Huff. They never got Jay Huff. I wanted Jay Huff for years.
Yeah, I just have more no.
Tia, who else? Any other thoughts about anybody?
No, that I don't have any written things. Just guys that didn't make it or whatever. So
guys I like at 35.
Boy.
If Kalkbrenner falls,
yeah.
Did you watch Kalkbrenner at all?
I don't have them written down. Maybe
so.
not.
Ryan Kalkbrenner, big, huge center from Creighton, played 5 years there.
By the way, I skip a lot of centers. I watch them for 5 seconds.
I wouldn't draft because I think Adem Bona is such a solid backup 5. Yep. I wouldn't draft another guy that does kind of the same thing as him. It just feels like, what's the point? But Kalkbrenner, I think, could be a legit stretch 5 and play like old Brook Lopez, like the current version of Brook Lopez. Kalkbrenner could be that at like 23 or 24. He's huge. He's pretty slow. He's going to play drop, but he plays hard. He rolls hard. He's a winner. And I do think he'll be able to be a backup center in the NBA. I would like him at 35. If Drake Powell falls at UNC, he's the kind of guy that Daryl would love. I think he'll probably end up going in the 20s because he's like high pedigree guy that a little bit had a disappointing season. Some on-ball juice, hit some catch and shoot guys, is athletic enough to defend. Like he can play. He'll eventually be able to play in this kind of final series. But like, so many guys went back to school. It's really disappointing. So many guys went back to school. So there's a lot of guys that I would like. I would love them, but like they're probably going to go in the 20s. RJ Lewis at St. John's, I think would be. He plays his ass off defensively. Has something to prove. Is a really, really good mid-range jump shooter. I think if he puts the work in and becomes as good from the outside as he is from the mid-range, like there's something interesting there. Edu Thiero at Arkansas. Did you watch him at all, Thiero?
Looking.
He's kind of like Ricky Council-y.
I have that. I watched him. I don't have any notes.
High motor guy, not a good shooter, but like is kind of like if you space jam. If you monstarred the ability to shoot out of Aaron Nesmith, that would be Edu Thiero. And maybe he gets there. Chaz Lanier is kind of like Isaiah Joe-ish at Tennessee. Really, really good shooter and has enough of a body that maybe he'll be able to hold up enough to play some decent two-way basketball. But there's not a ton of them. I think there's a chance that at 35, if they pick. There's a chance that I wouldn't mind it if the guy that they love is not there, trading for a second rounder next year, because they have no picks next year.
Oh, right.
So that's
unless we get
tricky.
top 4.
Unless you get top 4. As far as we have a couple more podcasts before the draft, but like
I think we just have one.
Saturday. Yeah, so Saturday in the draft. All right. Well. I guess we'll save what we think will happen and what we want to happen for Saturday.
Yeah, we'll save that for Saturday. And CJ went back into time and found some of our best hits and misses from our previous big boards.
Oh, boy.
So we'll have that on Saturday. And then Sam
I've had some misses.
Hits and misses. We all got them.
I've had some misses. You're allowed to have misses because you're like, well, I'm just watching the highlights and going.
You're allowed to have misses because you're a comedy writer, and you're allowed to be wrong about the draft.
Fair.
Yeah,
that's so fair.
Yeah,
that's such a good hit. This guy is a comedy writer, and that's why he was wrong about Jarrett Culver.
You can be, you know,
I can be. Everybody has him.
Even the guys who are like, hey, I'm Mr. Draft Guy. That's my whole job. They're fucking wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody took Anthony Bennett number 1. Yeah.
He would have been good if he didn't go number 1. I
Well,
think he would have been fine.
His highlights are great. His
Yeah.
YouTube is awesome. Yeah.
Come on.
And Sam Esfandiari from Light Years, the Warriors podcast, will join us. We thought this is a good mic idea. They went through 2 timelines. It failed. Now you
Well, they also went through a gap year.
and a gap year, and we will talk to Sam about the gap year and the 2 timelines, which the Sixers may be doing a little bit without having won several titles like the Warriors did, and the gap year. So be a big pod on Saturday, and then we will have you 2 nights on draft night. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah. You know lick face. Let's go.